Hello everyone, and welcome to another laid-back commentary. Now I'm fucking with you. Anyway, I got a Moab failing here. Spoiler alert. Go like 21-0, some like 2 or 3 off the Moab, but I really don't give a fuck because I don't go for Moabs. I go for AC 130s because I'd rather be in an AC 130 blowing people up because, I mean, that's just how I like to play. And I wasn't really like going for Moab. I was trying to get my fucking Hardline Pro and I was planning on dying. But it turns out I had the dildo gun, which I don't use a lot, and it turns out it's a fucking beast, and I can just basically smash people with it. What I usually do to fucking level up my hardline is I grab the specialist package and I I set it with hardline so I can get a kill streak for my first kill, and then a kill streak for every 2 kills, and then once I get to like 5 or 6 kills, I like to die. I was planning on fucking dying, but I ended up not dying, which is fucking bullshit. And then I started getting close to the Moab, so I was like, well, let me play a little bit like a bitch. And whatever. I missed it by like 3 kills. I don't really give a fuck. I don't go for those shit. If you really want to get a Moab, throw a silence on the dildo gun. Set up the fucking specialist package. Grab the motion sensor and go get one. Probably about 5 or 6 games you'll get one. But fuck that. I'm not here to talk about the Moab. I was thinking today, what's the greatest, or who's the greatest villain I've ever seen in any form of media, in any type of movie, book, comic, whatever, show, anything. And I was thinking to myself, like, a lot of names came to mind. Norman Bates, great villain. He was well written. It was well executed by the actor who did it. Marlo Stansfield from The Wire. If you don't know who Norman Bates is, turn this shit off, man. If you don't know who Marlo Stansfield is, go check The Wire out or just kill yourself. But Marlo Stansfield, very well written. He came in at a good time in the show. He was a marvelous villain. Other villains come to mind. Ozymandias from The Watchmen. You know who Ozzy is. He's a motherfucking beast. He's one of the best villains I've ever seen. Like, the plots that he hatched were incredible. And when I talk about, good villains, I'm not just talking about Jason and Freddy, the body count, how many people they killed. I'm talking about smart villains who had plans, who were doing amazing things, who were really fucking the world up for the hero. People like the Joker. People like Ben Linus from Lost. People like Sylar from Heroes. People like Darth Vader. The villain from No Country for Old Men. I don't remember his name. I don't even remember mentioning his name, but he was a fucking monster. He was scary. Like these villains seem real. The best villains, they seem real. They seem smart, and they're very methodical. Like Ben Wade from 310 to Yuma. He was a straight up monster, but he still had the ability to talk to a woman, which surprised the guy's wife during the dinner scene. And that's what I think about when I think of great villains. And I was thinking to myself, who's the greatest? Is it John Doe from Seven? Because the best villains are the ones that seem personal, that seem like they could actually happen. Like for example, when the main character is a villain, like Tyler Durden. When the main character is fucking psycho, you don't know it until the end. That's amazing to me, at least. There's a lot of great villains. There's a lot of well-written, well-rounded villain characters. Gollum, Gordon Gekko. He's an amazing villain. He did whatever he had to do. He even betrayed his daughter in the second movie. He was everything people said he was, and he was none of that when they met him. And that to me was incredible. And when I thought to myself, I was thinking, who's the greatest villain that I've ever seen? Is it Marlo Stansfield? Is it Gordon Gekko? Is it Sylar? Is it Ben Linus? And Ben Linus was fucking amazing. I can't say enough about how just charming and well-rounded Ben Linus was as a villain. He just embodies what I think about as when I see a villain. Same thing with Ozymandias, and even more so with Darth Vader. Once you see the movies of like how he became about, and that's why I never liked the Jedis. I always liked the Sith, because the Jedis to me never really understood the Force. They only knew one side of it, so they were blind. The Sith, they knew both sides. They always started off good guys, and they learned about both sides. So that, to me, being well-rounded is better. But I had to give the crown to someone, and I want people to dispute me on this. I want you to take a look at this video and tell me who your best villain is, and tell me why. Because I want to know who, I might be wrong. I want to know who your best villain is, who you think the best villain is. Let me know. But in my opinion, the best villain I've ever seen, hands down, is Yagami Light from Death Note. And here's why. The guy was absolutely brilliant. And the way they wrote him was, they brought you into the, to the world with him. And he's not just a villain, he's the main character. He's not just some guy that the hero's fighting. He's the main character, and the hero's the enemy. And when you watch it, you have a personal connection with Yagami Light, and you hate L. You don't like M, and you don't like N. You link up with Yagami, and that's who you follow. And he's so crafty. He's fucking brilliant throughout the whole thing. Like the part where he talked that girl into giving him her name and got her to hang herself was so well thought out that I don't think I could have ever imagined it turning out the way it did. And the way he just handled himself amongst the people in society, the way he lied, the way he tore at people, the way he fooled everyone. He even fooled his father. He fooled the entire police force, and he was just a kid. Even though some people might say Johan from Monster might be better, but I don't think so. Yagami Light wasn't just, some criminal. He was a fucking mass murderer, and he had like this sense of righteousness, and he was so smart like that. That was the best part about him. He was so brilliant. He was just so well thought out. He always had a plan. He got his girlfriend to sacrifice her life twice to help him. He even went so far as to get a Shinigami to die just to save him and his girl. This motherfucker's a straight up monster, and I loved him. I love him. He's the best villain I've ever seen. Ever. Better than the Joker, better than Darth Vader. I've never seen anybody like this who's just, just a straight up king, like a villain. And I like this guy better than Magneto. This guy is a straight killer. He has to be, like, to me, he is the best villain I've ever seen in any sort of media. The way he did things was just so exceptional. And, it was like no matter how hard people tried, they couldn't stop him. And even the better clincher was that when Death Note ended, it ended exactly how it should have ended. There was no, any heartbeat at the end, like who is about, how like some movies they have a cliffhanger at the end where somebody might be alive or they might not be alive. There was none of that. It happened the way shit should happen, and that was just one of the greatest parts about it. Like Yagami Light was just a straight up monster of an enemy. He was smart enough to get everyone to do his bidding for him, and willing to get his hands dirty whenever he had to. He was so good that he just tricked everyone into giving him, the moves he needed to win. The entire series was like a fucking big chessboard. But instead of him making the moves, he had you make the moves for him. He had you fall in the traps for him. He's just the greatest villain I've ever seen. Now, a lot of people might think I'm wrong, but I don't. That guy's a monster. You really have to see what he did to understand this guy. I've seen Ben Linus hatch some amazing plans on Lost, but the lack of information there just wasn't enough. But Yagami was just, he's unmatched. That motherfucker is untouched by any villain I've ever seen. And I've seen some damn good villains. Tyler Durden was a motherfucker. But let me know what you think. Who's your greatest villain of all time? Is it Yagami Light like me? Is it Norman Bates? Is it maybe one of the horror people? Is it Ozzy? Marlo Stanfield? Let me know. And as always, if you like this commentary, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. I'll catch you later. Oh, my honorable mention goes to Michael from Aries. Peace.